There's a moment in every life where you realize no one is coming to save you. But maybe, just maybe, you don't need saving. Maybe all you need is to remember who you really are. In today's episode, I sit down with Anne Fernandez, a hypnotherapist, channeler, and lifelong spiritual guide who's walked through cultures, religions, heartbreak, and awakening to arrive at a single truth. Your power is already 100% within you. She shares the mystical encounters that shaped her path, from seeing Jesus at age 7 to being visited by Archangel Michael in the middle of her grief, and how she finally stopped hiding her gifts and chose to live wide open. If you've been afraid of your own light or unsure how to trust your inner voice, this conversation might be the turning point. Enjoy. Anne Fernandez, welcome to the Orykl podcast. You are one of Orykl's vetted practitioners. You are a clinical hypnotherapist, channeler, medium, and life coach. And you've been doing this for quite a while, I think over 35 years. It's lovely to have you, and it's just been so lovely to have you since I've known you, which has been a while.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me not only to do this podcast, but to be on your platform.
I love having you, and I love every interaction we've had so far. So let me start off with asking you this, Anne. What mission do you think you're on? And why does that mission matter to you, but also to everybody else listening to this right now?
Wow, great question, because I do have a mission. And it changes, as I think it does for everyone, at different times in your life, right? So at this phase of my life, my mission is to help empower others. So whether it's a client, family, friends, I feel like that has been my mission and my purpose, to help empower people, because I feel like it's so important that everyone recognizes how powerful they are. So that's my focus right now.
And why do you think that you're on this mission versus any other mission that you could have chosen in life? Why this? Why you?
Wow. Well, it's been years and years and years of growing and walking my spiritual path, and again, evolving as time goes on, and the needs of others as well. And I feel it's because I'm not going to say mature or older, but I think I'm at this phase of life where I feel like I want to pass the baton. I want to pass what I have gathered over 72 years of my life.
Really? I didn't know that. Wow. Well done. You look amazing, and you are amazing. And your attitude towards life is really one of the most beautiful things I think about you. So in your life, what have been some of the recurring themes or the struggles, I would say, that you've had to face, the lessons that you think you came here to learn?
Wow. How long do we have? So, growing up in a small village on an island, growing up Muslim, Hindu, Catholic, being exposed to all of that. So there was the plus side to all that, having now in my life, I realized the importance of diversity and including everyone. And so that's the positive aspect of it. But being thrown into a new culture, coming from an island to America, I had to find my own way. I had no guidance. My accent was very heavy and no one understood me. And so I feel like sometimes I could have fallen off the edge into this deep abyss, but I feel like I always had this inner spiritual awareness and openness that sort of guided me, and kept me on my path. So even as a child, there was always this awareness. I didn't have the words to describe it, but somewhere inside of me, that thread, of my own spiritual journey was always there. And so, yeah, it was a big struggle, especially being thrown in a culture with no guidance.
Yeah. And I know what you mean. I mean, I've moved around quite a bit, came to South Africa when I was 12 from Argentina. Language, everything's just so different, right? You adapt or die kind of thing.
Right.
And I know you grew up in Trinidad and Tobago,
Yes.
which I'd love to go to one day. It looks amazing. Yeah. So you came as a teenager, right, to United
Yes.
States. Okay.
Yes.
So, can you tell me maybe some of the most pivotal spiritual moments that you had in your life that marked your path and led you to where you are today? Maybe two or three things that happened in your life that you
Sure,
remember.
sure, sure. Well, I have to go back to being a child on the islands because we had no distractions, and so nature became my playground. And as you probably know, that just being in nature, being in silence, can really open up channels and portals for anyone, right? So I think it began then, but especially when I was around 7, I think. I woke up in the middle of the night and saw this figure at the foot of my bed. And as a child, it's like, hi, who are you? "Well, I'm Jesus, and I will always guide you." So I didn't say anything to anyone. I just thought that was normal, right? So it began then. But then when I came to America, and I feel like sometimes when we go through struggles in our lives, those can be the most powerful learning moments. So we can look at that as like, oh my God, this is terrible. This is a challenge. But those can be the moments when we really learn and we grow. So
Absolutely.
through that, yeah, through that process and finding my way, I had many experiences where one of them that really stand out was after my divorce, lying on my couch and, being feeling sad and sorry for myself. And I woke up to this wonderful, sweet smell that just permeated my whole body. And then I saw a shimmering figure in the background, and he said, "I am Michael the Archangel, and I will always protect you." And I can still feel it now, that moment. But
Mm.
I think, when we have those powerful moments, we keep trying to recreate it, but you
Yeah.
really can't. It's never the same. And then it just continued from there on, where I would have my bed would literally shake, and, people who passed would come and talk to me, and, "Oh, you have to pass a message on." And I would say, "I just want to go to sleep, go away." But
That's, yeah.
anyway, so I had quite a few of those, and I really didn't know what to do with it because I was afraid to share with others, what
Yeah.
was happening. It's like, oh, I will be judged, or. So I
Yes.
kept a lot of that to myself, and then finally found a place, and I think I shared this with you before, Winnie, the Monroe Institute. I was invited to go there and spend a week with no distractions, no phones, no clocks. And that's when I felt that I was able to own all of these experiences and really embrace it. And then
Mm.
I started to help others by using these gifts.
Yeah, yeah. And I hear that so often from practitioners that, sort of spirit comes knocking on your door over and over, and you shut it down, or you're embarrassed, or you think that people won't understand it. But eventually you kind of have to let it in, right? And that changes almost everything because then you take on almost, I don't want to say your purpose, but it's more aligned to who you are because you're actually listening and acting on all of these things that are coming to you, right? Were you doing something else before you became a hypnotherapist? Or did you have like a traditional career? Or,
Oh my gosh. Well, I had quite a few actually because when I got divorced, I just started from scratch. I left everything behind. And so I
uh-huh.
started calling in all these gifts that would pay the bills, right? But I
Yeah.
always kept doing my hypnotherapy work and, helping others, doing my life coaching work and so on the sideline until
Uh-huh.
that became the opportunity for me to now take care of myself and just keep working in this field. So, yes, I was a real estate agent. I taught scuba diving all over the world, name it. Been there, done that. I was in survival mode.
Yeah.
But again, all along, I just always felt this deep inner guidance to just keep sharing and teaching and supporting
Mm.
others through all of these gifts.
And why do you think that you can tap into this and other people can't? Or, I mean, I know everybody can, but how is it that it just came to you so easily and other people would love to be able to see things or feel things more and they can't? Why do you think that is?
Well, I'll share something that is on my voicemail. It says the only way out is in. And to me, that is the most powerful thing because, as human beings, we are distracted by life, by things outside ourselves. But the truth is that the way to discover who you really are and to open up these channels and to be able to do all of these things that all of us do on the Orykl platform is to find a way to listen to your own inner voice, which can be subtle sometimes. Sometimes it shouts at us, but most of the time it's subtle. And so my advice would be spend time in nature, in silence by yourself. Amazing what comes up. And I say meditation, but sometimes people shy away from that. But you don't have to sit for 2 hours and with your eyes closed and your hands like this. Meditation can come when you're dancing, when you're vacuuming, when you're listening to music, so just opening up that space within.
Yeah. No, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I do it every day. And sometimes it's not as hard as people think it is,
Right.
because it is a matter of committing, I suppose, and really spending the 5 minutes, the 10 minutes, whatever you want. But it has to be a regular routine. I actually am amazed sometimes how quickly the answers come, because it's about just being still for a little bit, right? It's not even hard. It's just about committing to the time and allowing it to come up. And then from there, how do you think you could give somebody the confidence to trust themselves? Because something can come up, and first of all, some people might not believe it's them, or how do we know if it's a thought, or if it's really our intuition or a higher self talking to us, or if it's something that we heard and now we're just thinking about it? That's one question. And the other question would be, when we do know that it is us, but there's all these fears, how do we actually trust ourselves to do it?
That's interesting you say that, because I was going to talk about the most important thing is trusting, right? As we all know. And wow, that is a tough one for most people. But remember that our thinking mind, this is like a hard drive. And there's so many beliefs and so many things that we've been taught our whole lives. And it's so embedded deeply in there. But when we can get out of our thinking mind and stop judging ourselves and just come from our heart center, that's where we can learn to trust more. So I would say have a way of dropping down into your heart and to truly listen and trust. And sometimes the only way is to just test something out. So you have a feeling, you have something that just sort of shows up. Maybe a shadow goes by you, or just a thought comes out of nowhere. Well, follow that, trust it, because it's kind of like going to the gym. You don't go once and go like this and you build muscle, so as you trust, and you keep trusting and just sort of surrendering, if you will, surrendering to what is happening and these ideas and thoughts and feelings, you build that inner muscle. And then after a while, you no longer even think about it. You realize wow, I know what this means. And you act upon it, right?
Yes, I love that. I know you have many gifts, but what would you say you're particularly good at?
Wow. I've still never been able to completely answer that question. And I'll tell you why. So I went to college for a few years and studied clinical hypnotherapy, life coaching. And I've been doing that for over 35 years, teaching meditation, guiding people in nature, working at UCLA, doing my meditation there. However, what makes it difficult is that I feel that once someone opens up that one portal or that one channel, you have access to everything in the universe. And so because I'm very visual, I like to say it's like this universal computer. And as soon as you figure out that one way of plugging into it, you have access to everything. Because I have to say what I do. So I do life coaching, hypnotherapy work. I do channel Seth and also other entities, depending on the person and what their needs are. I do public speaking as well. The president of a spiritual center out here near Joshua Tree.
Okay, didn't know that.
So
what do you do there?
I help bring speakers in and musicians for every Sunday. So it's just spiritual, non-religious, kind of like Science of Mind. And so there's a community of people that show up there every Sunday. And we have other events that go on. So I was invited to be the president, and I said, no, I don't want to do that. I've got too many things going on, but I love the community, and it's been very nice to support and help those people as well.
Yeah. What makes you the happiest?
Wow. For me, happiness comes from a joy and a feeling that is so deep within me. And it's really nothing outside of myself so much, but if I have to touch base on something outside of me, it would be watching someone smile, watching someone get it, so to speak, like when I'm working with a client or talking to a group of people and I see them smiling and nodding their heads, and I'm like, yes, I'm walking my path, living my purpose. You know, for me, giving and sharing and seeing other people just feel their own power, that makes me happy.
And when it comes to your clients, which is the client that you enjoy working with the most, that makes you the happiest? What kind of client?
Well, so I would have to say that the clients that come to me are ones who are trying to figure out their life purpose, trying to find their way, that recognize that there are some blocks, there's some beliefs or something that is holding them back. And so through my life coaching, hypnotherapy work, I work with those type of clients. However, I have clients show up, and when someone shows up in front of me, I have no agenda. I don't really prepare. I wait for that client to sit in front of me. And once they start talking to me, I know exactly which modality I need to use. So sometimes they'll tell me, oh, will you channel this for me? And after we talk for a few minutes, they realize that perhaps it's another modality that might be best for them. So I think it's so important with the work that all of us do that we show up with no agenda and we really listen intently to our clients.
Yeah, and that is also quite common with different practitioners here on Orykl, that they offer these modalities. The client maybe comes with the intention to do something, but as you feel into the energy, you know, it's something else that you end up doing. So it is nice, I think, from a client's perspective, to have that understanding and to have the trust also that whatever needs to come up will come up, and, you know, the right modality will be done. But let's just say your most typical session with a client, how would it go if you could run me a little bit through the process?
Okay, so if I am doing a hypnotherapy, if someone shows up for my hypnotherapy work, basically we're talking just like you and I are talking, and they're, you know, sharing all these things with me. And I always say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to make sense, because sometimes people show up and they just need to spew everything, right? And I say, it's okay. It's like pieces of a puzzle. And my job is to put those pieces together. So I now know which direction to take and how to guide you, to support you. So there's a conversation at the beginning, and then I might either do some channeling with them, or I may do hypnotherapy, guiding them into that relaxed space where they're dropped out of their thinking mind. And then I guide them through, you know, tell them a story and speak to them on a level that resonates with them, that can help them shift. That's basically how the sessions go.
And do people see you for a one-off session, or 3, 5, or on a monthly basis? Or is it like really dependent on the person?
It depends on the person. I have some clients that have seen me for one session because they just needed, you know, like a little tweaking or something. And I have clients that see me weekly. I have clients that see me once a month. And then I have clients who perhaps have seen me for a while, and then I don't talk to them for about 6 months, and I get a phone call, you know, hey, I need some support. I just need a little reminder, you know. So basically that's how it works.
Maybe tell us of a story from somebody that you've had recently, one of your clients that had a big transformation.
Wow. You know, it's been quite a few years, so I have quite a few. I would have to say that one of the things that really made me feel some satisfaction was being able to get a client who had been seeing a regular therapist for years, and immediately, sometimes, I hate to say it, but sometimes, you know, psychotherapists and stuff will immediately put a client on drugs. And so I saw this client for a while, and after a few months, we were able to get that person off of drugs and to recognize that they already had within them the ability to heal and the ability to live their own life purpose. And so that really makes me feel good when someone can get off of any kind of dependency on drugs and to figure out that they have the strength
Yes.
to heal and to live their own lives.
Yeah, it's empowering people, like you said at the beginning. It's great.
Absolutely.
And if you could snap your fingers and have the whole world know something like a truth, what one thing would you love everyone to know without a shadow of a doubt?
Wow. Well, there's quite a few, but if the one thing I would say is to trust your own inner guidance, trust your inner guidance, not the outer world. That would be it. Trust.
Yeah, it's so hard. We are so conditioned, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm on the journey big time, and I'm so aware of how conditioned we are and how even myself, without even realizing, we are super, super conditioned. And so to try, because it's hard, because you're listening to your heart, but society tells you to do this and that, and we do it without even looking. And then we realize, why am I even doing it? You know, is it something that
Right.
I really want to do? And I find it with my own journey, the trust has been baby steps. And as I've done something and it's worked out, I trust myself more. And then you trust more and more. And it's, so I used to work for, a ski camp in Whistler, Canada, where we had professional skiers teach the kids, and I would see these guys jump these massive jumps, and I'd be like, how do they do it? And it's baby steps. You start with a little jump,
Yeah.
and you increase it like that, right? So it's the same thing. And you were saying it's like the gym. You don't build muscles like that from day one.
Right.
It's baby steps. And so that's nice because that feels more encouraging and easier, And then committing, right? To like, I will
Yeah.
trust myself. So we do need that commitment, like that. One thing it's
Absolutely.
knowing, another thing it's actually doing it.
Yeah, what you're describing really is that, we tend to live in comfort zones, right? We same things daily, day in and day out. And as soon as something comes up or someone says like, hey, why don't you do this or try this? It's like, we're afraid sometimes to step outside our comfort zones because it's the unknown.
Yeah.
And I will say that the unknown is where we can also have a lot of spiritual guidance, which, by the way, I wanted to share with you. The whole trusting thing, like you say, is so hard sometimes. But I always invite in and ask questions to all my spiritual guides, and they're available to everyone and anyone. And so with that, knowing that I can always ask a question, that has helped me to also trust even more my own inner guidance.
Yeah, yeah. And that's also something I've come to learn in my journey, how guided we are. I swim every morning. I think, this morning as I was swimming, and this has never happened to me before, I felt wings above my back. Like this, because I was tired today because I didn't sleep so much last night. And then I just felt just amazing. These wings carry me, and I just like, and I was like, wow, I even though I'm in Orykl and I talk to people like you all the time, I'm still amazed at the vastness of what's on the other side, the amount of help, the amount of knowledge I'm receiving every morning from my swims. It's amazing. And so it goes back to that trust, right? A little bit, and you hear more and more and more. It's a path worth walking. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. Wow.
Yeah.
That is so exciting that you had that experience. I love it. It is amazing. Once you tap in and you trust that you have all this guidance, it just illuminates your path.
Yeah. It really does.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. I love chatting with you. We'll wrap it up though. Is there any message that you'd like to leave us with for the listener and perhaps to a future client?
So, I think even when a client is trying to decide what kind of assistance and support they need, again, they need to just take a moment and just tap in for a moment and ask that question. Okay, what kind of guidance do I need? Do I need hypnotherapy? Do I need channeling? Do I need meditation? Do I need energy work? And ask that question. And the first answer that comes up, go with that. That's the key. So, because I know a lot of clients sometimes show up and they're like, well, I'm not sure what modality I need or, what kind of support I need. So
Yeah.
I think that would be helpful for them to just ask that question and go with the first thing that comes up.
Yes, I agree. Well, Anne, thank you so much. Thank you for what you do, for being on Orykl. And yeah, it's always lovely to talk to you. So thank you for doing this interview.
Thank you for having me. I love being on Orykl.